Hi, my name is Brad.
My name's Alexander. Today we're going to be talking to you about our behavioral study on long-nosed dace. Brad?
As you can see here, we have 6 replicate tanks set up with a blind in between each. We have 3 long-nosed dace inside each tank, in which we also had gravel and silt from local streams that we collected. As you can see in this video, this is our silted replicate tanks we had set up. We specifically did this mostly to have an acclimation period of several days for each replicate tank for the fish to get used to the environment. So when we transfer them into our test tanks, there is no shock hazard. And in here, this is just our 3 gravel replicate tanks.
Each of the tanks involved in the study had a lamp on top of it connected to a 12-hour timer. This was to help resemble some sort of day-night cycle that these fish would observe in their natural environments. In our actual test tanks, we also had a wire mesh, which you can see right here, underneath any rocks, gravel, silt. And this was so that if any food fell to the bottom of the enclosure, we'd be able to observe it. We observed total number of bloodworms, food eaten, as well as initial strike time to that food by the fish.
So now, as you can see in this video, this is our gravel test tank. In here we had the 3 long-nosed dace set up. And this one specifically, you can see the sporadic behavior we were testing for, which we specifically tested as fin raises. And this next video coming up right here, we have our silted test tank set up, in which we had a decent amount of silt added in, as well as gravel substrate that we used in this tank were very similar to the ones that we used in all of our silted replicate tanks.
All of the fish that we studied, that we observed, were tested twice. So they were allowed to acclimate to one environment, tested, and then acclimated in another one before they were tested in their second tank. So if they started off in a silted environment, they were tested in a silted environment. If they started off in a non-silted environment, they were tested in a gravel-only environment afterwards, and then switched. So that gave us a total of 12 tests, 2 from each replicate tank. So right here in our gravel-only test tank, you can see these fish aren't really moving around a lot. They're a lot less agitated. There's a lot less sporadic behavior. That's because we think this more resembles their natural environment. They're not used to silt. They're not used to heavily silted environments. And that was reflected in our results. You can see right here, slower initial reaction time, more fin raises, more agitated behavior, and even though it's not significant in the third graph, a little bit less food consumed. Some of that might have been missed by the fish.